They took my house on a Tuesday. I remember because I had just finished replacing the bathroom sink, the one that had been dripping for 3 months. Funny how you fix things right before you lose them. The irony wasn't lost on me even then. My daughter Emma stood in the doorway with her husband Derek, both of them wearing expressions I'd seen before. Concerned, caring, the kind of look people practice in mirrors before difficult conversations. "Dad, we need to talk," Emma said. I dried my hands on a shop towel. "About what?" "About this house. About you living here alone." I'd been alone for 6 years. My wife Laura died when Emma was 24. Heart attack. No warning. One day she was laughing at something stupid I said. The next day, she was gone. Emma had moved across town with Derek 2 years before that. The house had been quiet, sure, but it was my quiet. "I'm fine here," I said. Derek stepped forward. He was a financial advisor, the kind who wore expensive watches and talked about portfolios at dinner parties. "Mr. Bennett, we've been thinking about this for a while. This house is too much for one person. The maintenance alone." "I just fixed the sink." "Right, but that's the point. You shouldn't have to. You're almost 52. You should be thinking about simplifying." I looked at Emma. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "We want you to move in with us," she said quietly. "We have that guest room. It's big. You'd have your own bathroom. And we could help with everything." "I don't need help with everything." "Dad," her voice had an edge now. "Be realistic. This house is falling apart. The roof needs work. The furnace is 20 years old. The property taxes keep going up. You're working 60 hours a week just to keep it." She wasn't wrong about any of it. I managed facilities for a commercial real estate company. HVAC systems, electrical, plumbing, everything that keeps office buildings running. Good money, but not great money. Not anymore. "So I'll work less," I said. Derek laughed, actually laughed. "You can't afford to work less. We've seen your accounts, remember? When you refinanced last year, you're barely breaking even." That stopped me. Emma had co-signed on the refinance. I'd needed her help because my credit had tanked after Laura's medical bills. But that meant she'd seen everything. Every number, every gap. "We're worried about you," Emma said. "We love you. This is for the family." For the family. Those 3 words changed everything, though I didn't know it yet. "What happens to the house?" I asked. "We'll take care of it," Derek said quickly. Too quickly. "Put it in a trust, maybe rent it out. The market's strong right now. It could generate income." "My house generates income for who?" "For everyone. For the family. We'd handle the management, obviously, but any profit would be shared." Emma finally looked at me. "It's the smart thing to do, Dad. You know it is." I did know it. On paper, it made perfect sense. Moving in with them would cut my expenses by 70%. I could actually save money, maybe even retire before I was 70. But something in Derek's eyes didn't match his words. I thought about saying no. I thought about fighting, but I was tired. 6 years of being alone in a house full of memories had worn me down more than I wanted to admit. And Emma was my daughter, my only child. If she thought this was best, maybe it was. "When?" I asked. Emma's shoulders relaxed. "We were thinking next weekend. We'll help you pack. We've already got the guest room set up. 7 days to dismantle a life." I packed slowly. Clothes, books, tools, the things you need. But I was careful about what I took and what I left. The furniture stayed. It came with the house anyway. Heavy oak pieces that Laura had inherited from her mother. The dishes stayed, the lawnmower and the snowblower and all the maintenance equipment. What I took were smaller things. File boxes from the basement, old laptops, external hard drives, USB sticks I'd collected over 20 years working in facilities management, manuals and schematics and documentation that most people would consider trash. I loaded them into my truck in the middle of the night, drove them to a storage unit I'd rented across town, locked them away. I took my tools, the good ones, Milwaukee power tools, precision measuring equipment, diagnostic meters, things I'd actually use. I took photographs, but only certain ones. The rest I left in albums on the bookshelf, and I took documents. Not the obvious ones. Those stayed in the filing cabinet in the den. But copies. Digital copies of everything important. Deeds, titles, insurance policies, tax returns going back 15 years. I'd been scanning documents for months, ever since Emma first mentioned the house being too much. Call it instinct. Call it paranoia. I called it preparation. On Saturday, Emma and Derek showed up with a moving truck. Not a rental, a professional service. They'd thought of everything. We figured we'd make it easy, Derek said. Just point to what you want, and they'll load it. I pointed to 6 boxes and 2 duffel bags. Emma stared. That's it? Dad, you've lived here for 30 years. Most of it stays with the house. But your things are things. I don't need them. The movers looked confused, but loaded what I indicated. It took them 20 minutes. 20 minutes to pack up what I was willing to show them I cared about. Derek had papers. A notary was waiting in a car outside. Just a formality, he said. Transferring the house into the family trust. You'll still have access, obviously. This just protects everyone. I read the papers. Slowly. I'd gotten good at reading contracts over the years. You don't survive 2 decades in commercial facilities without learning to spot the gaps between what people say and what they write. The trust was irrevocable. Once I signed, the house wasn't mine anymore. It belonged to the Emma Bennett Family Trust, managed by Emma and Derek as co-trustees. I had a lifetime right of visitation and potential residency subject to trustee approval, which meant nothing. I looked at Emma. She was watching me with that same concerned expression. It protects you too, she said. If anything happens, if you get sick or need care, the house can't be taken. It's safe this way. I signed. The notary witnessed. Derek smiled. Emma hugged me. You're doing the right thing, she said. I left the keys on the kitchen table. The house keys, the garage keys, the mailbox key, everything. We drove to their house in separate cars. Mine followed theirs. I watched Derek's hand on Emma's shoulder as he drove, saw him say something that made her laugh. The guest room was nice. Big window, queen bed, private bathroom like they'd promised. My boxes looked small against the wall. Dinner's at 6, Emma said. Make yourself at home. I unpacked slowly, hung my clothes in the closet, put my toiletries in the bathroom, set my laptop on the desk by the window. Then I went for a walk. Their neighborhood was newer than mine. Bigger houses, smaller lots, HOA rules posted on every corner. No parking on the street after 10 p.m., no lawn decorations except seasonal, no exterior modifications without approval. I walked for an hour, memorizing streets and patterns, where people parked, which houses had dogs, which ones had security cameras, old habits. You spend 20 years managing building security, and you start seeing infrastructure everywhere. When I got back, Derek was grilling steaks on a back deck that probably cost more than my truck. How do you like your room? He asked. It's fine. Good, because we should talk about next steps. Next steps? He flipped a steak. The house. We've had some interest already. There's a developer who wants to buy the whole block, build townhomes. It's a good offer. The house has been in the trust for 4 hours. I know, but markets move fast. We need to be ready. Emma came out with a salad. Derek, give him time. He just moved. I'm just saying we should consider it. The offer's strong. I ate my steak and said nothing. That night, in my new room that smelled like air freshener and fresh paint, I opened my laptop, connected to their Wi-Fi, started pulling files from my cloud storage, blueprints, contracts, service histories, everything I'd documented over the years. Because that's what you do in facilities management. You document everything, including the house. My house. The house I'd just signed away. I pulled up the original deed. The one from 1968, when Laura's parents bought it. Then the one from 1994, when they died and left it to Laura. Then the one from 2014, when Laura died and it passed to me. Clear chain of title. No liens except the mortgage I'd nearly paid off. But there was something else. Something I'd noticed years ago and never mentioned to anyone. An easement. Buried in the original 1968 deed. A right-of-way agreement with the city for underground utility access. Standard stuff, except this easement had a clause. A revenue-sharing clause that applied if the property was ever commercially developed. Whoever owned the property at the time of development got 12% of gross project revenue for the lifetime of the development. 12%. The developer Derek mentioned wanted to build townhomes, probably 20 units at $600,000 each, $12 million in sales. 12% was... I closed the laptop. Derek didn't know. Emma didn't know. The easement was old enough that it probably wouldn't show up on a standard title search. You'd have to dig. You'd have to know what you were looking for. I'd known for 8 years. I'd never mentioned it because there was no reason to. I wasn't planning to develop the property. I was planning to die there eventually and leave it to Emma. But now it wasn't mine. And in about a week, they were going to find out what they'd actually taken. I went to sleep smiling. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe, and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? The first 3 days were theater. I played the Grateful Father. Got up early, made coffee, stayed out of the way. Emma worked from home 2 days a week, and I could hear her on Zoom calls in the office they'd converted from a bedroom. Derek left at 7 sharp every morning, came back at 6:30, went for a run, showered, appeared for dinner like he was doing a commercial for the good life. I watched everything. The way Derek sorted his mail into 3 piles, urgent, review, trash. The way Emma checked her phone during meals and pretended she wasn't. The way they talked about me when they thought I was upstairs. Not mean, exactly. Just clinical. He seems fine, Emma said on Wednesday night. He's adjusting, Derek replied. Give it time. I feel bad about the house. Don't. We're helping him. He couldn't have held on to it much longer anyway. I know, but he looked so sad when he put the keys down. He'll get over it. People do. I was standing at the top of the stairs, silent in my socks. Old carpentry trick. You learn to move quietly when you're checking building issues at night. Thursday morning, I drove to my storage unit. The facility was out near the industrial park, the kind of place that rents to contractors and people going through divorces. I'd paid for 6 months up front, cash, using a business name I'd registered years ago for side jobs. Bennett Property Services. Legitimate, documented, completely separate from my personal name. Inside the unit, I'd organized everything. File boxes labeled by year and category, hard drives in climate-controlled cases, tools arranged on pegboard, a small desk and chair where I could work. I opened my laptop and pulled up the property records I'd been collecting. The house sat on a corner lot, 0.4 acres, zoned R2, which allowed single and two-family dwellings, but there was a petition filed 6 months ago to rezone the entire block to R5, which allowed multifamily residential up to 5 stories. Filed by Crawford Development Group, Derek's client. I knew, because I'd seen the name on Derek's calendar once when I'd borrowed his laptop to check my email. Crawford Development was listed with a meeting time and a note. Finalize Bennett property strategy. That was 2 months before Emma brought up the house. I sat back in my folding chair and looked at the papers spread in front of me. They'd planned this. Not for weeks, for months. The refinance Emma co-signed wasn't to help me. It was to get her name on the account, to see my finances, to confirm I was struggling. The timing of their concern, the specific mention of the roof and the furnace, they'd probably had the house inspected, hired someone to find problems, and then they'd come to me with the solution. I should have been angry, should have felt betrayed. Instead, I felt something colder. Clarity. I pulled up the easement document and read it again. The revenue sharing clause was specific. 12% of gross project revenue, paid quarterly for the lifetime of the development. The language defined lifetime as the period during which the development generated income through sale or rental. But there was another clause, one I hadn't focused on before. The revenue share transferred with property ownership. Whoever owned the property when development began was entitled to the payments, but if ownership changed during development, the new owner got nothing. The payments continued to the original owner at the time development commenced, which meant I needed to own the property when development started, which I didn't anymore. I opened my phone and called a number I hadn't used in 3 years. Bennett. Jesus, I thought you died. Marcus Reeves, real estate attorney. I'd done some work for his office building, fixed an HVAC system that 3 other contractors said was unfixable. He'd appreciated the honesty and the competence. We'd stayed in touch. Need a consultation, I said. Personal or professional? Both. My office, tomorrow. Bring everything. I spent the rest of Thursday afternoon scanning documents. Every paper related to the house, every email exchange with Emma, every text message about the move. When I got back to their house, Derek was already home. Early. He was in the living room with another man, younger, expensive suit, the kind of haircut that costs more than groceries. Perfect timing, Derek said. Dad, this is Richard Crawford. He's the developer I mentioned. Crawford stood, offered his hand. Firm grip, practiced smile. Mr. Bennett, I've heard a lot about you. Have you? Derek tells me you managed facilities for North Point Commercial. That's a good company. It pays the bills, I'm sure. Listen, I'll be direct. I'm very interested in your property. The entire block, actually. But your corner lot is the keystone. I'm prepared to make a strong offer. It's not my property anymore. Right, the trust. Derek explained. Smart move, protecting assets. But the trustees can still sell, and I think you'll find the numbers compelling. He handed me a folder. Inside was a purchase offer, $750,000. The house was worth maybe $450 in current condition. That's generous, I said. The location justifies it. We're planning something special for the neighborhood. High-end townhomes, the kind of development that raises property values for everyone. I looked at Derek. He was watching me carefully. What do you think, Dad? It's a good opportunity. For who? For everyone. The offer's 40% above market. You'd have real money. Security. I thought the house was for the family. It is. This is for the family. We all benefit. I handed the folder back to Crawford. I need to think about it. His smile thinned. Of course. But the offer has a time limit. These opportunities don't wait. How long? 7 days. 7 days. Exactly 1 week from when I'd signed the trust. They'd timed everything perfectly. After Crawford left, Derek poured himself a scotch. Didn't offer me one. You seem hesitant, he said. It's a big decision. It's already decided. The house is in the trust. Emma and I are the trustees. We can sell with or without your input. There it was, the mask slipping just a little. Then why are you asking? Because you're family. We want you to feel good about this. I nodded slowly. I appreciate that. Good. Because Crawford's right. This is the smart play. The house is a burden. This way, everyone wins. I went upstairs. Emma was in the hallway, holding a laundry basket. She'd been listening. Dad, it's fine, Emma. Is it? You look upset. I'm tired. Derek means well. He's just focused on the numbers. It's what he does. I know what he does. She flinched. What does that mean? Nothing. I'm going to bed. I closed the door to my room and sat on the bed in the dark. 7 days. They'd made a mistake, though. A small one. They assumed I didn't understand what they were doing. Assumed I was just a tired old man who worked too much and knew too little. Derek had called me Dad when Crawford was there, establishing rapport, making it seem like family. But he'd never called me that before. It was always Mr. Bennett or nothing. People who lie add details they wouldn't normally use. I opened my laptop and started writing. Everything I remembered from the conversation. Every word Crawford said, every glance Derek gave. Then I pulled up my email and drafted a message to Marcus Reeves. Need to discuss property transfer under duress and potential trust invalidation. Have documentation. Also need research on development easements and revenue sharing agreements. I didn't send it. Not yet. Friday morning, I went to work early. Told Emma I had an emergency call out at one of the buildings. She barely looked up from her coffee. I drove to North Point's main office, 40-story tower downtown, all glass and steel. I'd been working on the mechanical systems there for 12 years, knew every pipe, every wire, every access point. I also knew the property manager, Diane Chen. She was in her office on the 35th floor, surrounded by monitors and spreadsheets. Bennett, what's the emergency? No emergency, need a favor. She looked at me over her reading glasses. You never need favors. First time for everything. What is it? Crawford Development. You know them? Her expression changed. Unfortunately. How bad? Put it this way, we manage 4 properties they developed. All 4 have ongoing litigation, shoddy work, cost overruns passed to buyers. They're professional in meetings and disasters in execution. Anyone regret working with them? Everyone. Why? They're trying to develop my neighborhood. She leaned back in her chair. Your house? Not anymore. My daughter's trust owns it. Jesus, Bennett, what happened? I told her. Not everything, but enough. She listened without interrupting. Then she pulled up something on her computer. Crawford's been here, 3 months ago. Pitched a mixed-use development they wanted North Point to anchor. We passed. Why? Their financials were garbage, leveraged to hell. 3 projects in foreclosure. They survive by flipping pre-development properties. Buy low, get zoning changes, sell high, never actually build anything. They told my son-in-law they're building townhomes. They probably are. For about 6 months, until they sell the entitled property to a real developer for triple what they paid. Your son-in-law getting a commission on the sale. I hadn't thought of that, but of course he was. Thanks, Diane. Bennett, be careful. Crawford has lawyers. Good ones. So do I. Since when? Since today. I drove to Marcus Reeves's office, brought everything, the easement documents, the trust papers, the text messages with Emma, photos of the property, blueprints, the development petition. Marcus read for an hour without speaking. Finally, you're screwed. How screwed? The trust is legitimate, properly executed, notarized. You signed willingly. Under false pretenses. Prove it. They'll say they were helping you, acting in your interest. You're broke. The house was falling apart. They offered a solution. No court's going to invalidate that. What about the easement? He smiled. Now that's interesting. How interesting? Interesting enough that if I were Crawford, I'd back off. That revenue share clause is ironclad. Whoever owned the property when development starts gets 12% of gross revenue for life. Life means forever in legal terms. But I don't own it. No, but the trust does, and the trust beneficiary is you. Derek said I'm not the beneficiary. Emma is. Did you read the trust document? I read the summary page. Always read the actual document. He pulled it up on his screen. Here, section 4.2. What does that mean? It means you're the primary beneficiary while you're alive, which means any income the trust generates goes to you, including easement revenue. They don't know about the easement. I gathered, and when they find out, they're going to be very unhappy. Can they dissolve the trust? Not easily. It's irrevocable. They'd need your consent. I sat back, so I let them sell. Development starts. Easement kicks in. I get 12% of everything. Roughly, yes, but there's a problem. What? You still don't own the house. The trust does. And they control the trust. They can make your life hell. Evict you from their home. Cut off contact. Turn Emma against you completely. They've already done that. Maybe, but it gets worse. If Crawford figures out the easement exists before closing, he'll back out. If he figures it out after, he'll sue everyone. The trust, you, Emma, Derek, it'll take years to sort out. But I'd still get the payments. Eventually, after litigation, after appeals. I thought about that. What's the play? I asked. Marcus smiled. The play is leverage. They want a quick sale. Crawford needs the property for his larger development. Time is against them. You have something they don't know they need. My silence. Your cooperation. You go to Derek. You tell him you found something in the old property records. An easement. You're not sure what it means, but it might affect the sale. You're worried. And he panics, pays you to go away, buys you out of the trust, gives you cash for your cooperation. How much? Depends on how scared he is. But if Crawford's offering $750 for the property and you control an easement worth 12% of the development, you could ask for $200,000 easy, maybe more. I stood up. Set up a meeting. With who? Derek and Emma, here, tomorrow morning. You sure? They said I had 7 days. It's day 6. Marcus grinned. I love it when people underestimate you. The proof of funds showed up Friday afternoon. Marcus called. It's there, $3.2 million in escrow. Bennett, you're actually doing this. Looks like it. How do you feel? Ask me after closing. Fair enough. I'll start prepping the final paperwork. You need anything? Yeah, Derek's creditors. I need names. Why? Because I'm not handing Derek $400,000 in cash and hoping he pays the right people. Good thinking. I'll see what I can find. Saturday morning, Derek called. Emma said you're selling. That's right. And you're going to help me. I'm going to pay your debt. That's not the same thing. It's more than I deserve. Yes. Silence. Thank you, he said quietly. Don't thank me. Just stay away from whatever got you into this mess. I will, I swear. Who do you owe, Derek? I can't. I'm paying them. I need to know who they are. More silence. Private lenders, he said finally. Investment group out of Chicago. They front money for high-risk ventures, real estate flips, business startups, things banks won't touch. What was the venture? Cryptocurrency mining operation. Friend of mine said it was guaranteed returns, 12% monthly. Jesus Christ, Derek. I know. How much did you borrow? $200,000 initially, but with fees and penalties and compound interest, it's up to $400,000. In how long? 18 months. You borrowed $200,000 and now you owe $400,000? That's usury. It's legal, technically. They structure it as a partnership. I'm a limited partner. The debt is my capital call obligation. And if you don't pay? They have enforcement mechanisms. Like breaking your ribs? Like that. Yes. Give me their contact information. Why? Because I'm not giving you the money. I'm giving it to them directly. That's not... Take it or leave it, Derek. You get the money through me or not at all. He gave me a name, William Chen, a phone number with a Chicago area code. I called that afternoon. A woman answered. Chen Associates. I need to speak with William Chen. Regarding? Derek Hayes. He owes you money. Please hold. 60 seconds of hold music. Then a male voice. Calm, professional. This is William Chen. My name is Edward Bennett. Derek Hayes is my son-in-law. I'm aware. He owes you $400,000. $397,462 as of today. The balance increases daily. I'm prepared to pay the full amount. Silence. Mr. Bennett, I appreciate the offer, but Derek is our client. His obligations are his own. I understand, but I'm making the payment on his behalf, closing his account. That's not how this works. Then explain how it works. Derek borrowed money under specific terms. He pledged certain assets as collateral, one of which is a property in your name. What property? The house at 847 Maple Street. Derek doesn't own that house. He had signing authority as a trustee. He pledged it as collateral for the loan. That trust is dissolved. Was it dissolved before or after he signed our agreement? I said nothing. I'll take that as after, Chen said, which means the pledge stands. You can't claim a property that isn't his. We can try, and we will if the debt isn't paid. But if you're offering to satisfy the debt directly, we're willing to accept, assuming you have the funds. I will, in 2 weeks. 2 weeks is a long time. It's when the house sale closes. Ah, so you're selling the property Derek pledged as collateral. It was never his to pledge. The courts can sort that out. In the meantime, Derek's balance continues to accrue at approximately $1,200 per day. I'll pay it, all of it, but I need a settlement agreement, in writing, stating that payment satisfies all obligations and releases all claims. We can draft that, send proof of funds, and we'll prepare the paperwork. Fine. You'll have it Monday. I hung up, called Marcus immediately. We have a problem, I said. I explained. Derek's collateral pledge, the property claim, the daily interest. Marcus swore. He pledged your house without your knowledge. Can they enforce it? Depends on the paperwork. If Derek actually had legal authority to pledge the property when he signed, they might have a claim. But since the trust is dissolved, they'd have to prove the pledge was valid at the time. How do we fight it? We don't. We pay them, get the release, move on. That's letting Derek get away with fraud. You want to fight him or protect Emma? I closed my eyes. Protect Emma. Then we pay. I'll draft the settlement agreement. Get Chen to sign off. Clear this mess up. Monday morning, Marcus sent proof of funds to Chen Associates. Tuesday, they sent back a settlement agreement. Marcus reviewed it. It's clean. You pay $397,462. They release all claims against Derek and the property. Everyone walks away. What about the extra 10 days until closing? That's another $12,000 in interest. Already negotiated. The $400,000 you're paying covers the balance through closing date. Anything beyond that Derek owes. But by then, he'll be clear. And if he can't pay the extra? That's his problem. You're covering the original debt, that's it. I signed the agreement. Wednesday, Crawford's team sent final closing documents. Thursday, I met with the title company. Friday, November 18th, we closed. The conference room was crowded. Crawford and his lawyers, my lawyer, the title officer, an escrow agent, everyone with their papers and pens and professional smiles. We signed for 90 minutes, every page initialed, every clause acknowledged, every representation confirmed. The title officer verified the deed transfer. The escrow agent confirmed the wire transfer. $3.2 million minus fees, taxes, and Marcus's cut. Net to me, $2,735,000. The title officer shook my hand. Congratulations, Mr. Bennett. The property is transferred. Crawford shook my hand next. Pleasure doing business with you. We'll see. He frowned. Is there a problem? Just tired. Understandable. Enjoy your retirement. I left. Outside, the sky was gray, cold, November in full force. I sat in my truck and looked at my phone. 2.7 million. I called the escrow agent. Wire 400,000 to Chen Associates. Account details are in the file. Already done, Mr. Bennett, per your instructions this morning. And the settlement agreement? Executed and filed. Derek Hayes is released from all obligations effective immediately. I hung up. It was over. I called Emma. It's done, I said. The house? Sold. Derek's debt is paid. He's clear. She started crying. Thank you, Dad. Thank you so much. Take care of that baby. I will, I promise. I sat in that hotel room for 3 hours, staring at Emma's signature. It was hers, no question. The same looping E, the same way she crossed her T's. I'd seen her handwriting 1,000 times, birthday cards, thank you notes. The last Mother's Day card she'd written to Laura before Laura died. This was her signature on a promissory note for $200,000, dated 14 months ago. Which meant, when she came to me about the house, when she talked about Derek's debt like it was some new crisis, she'd already been liable for it for over a year. I called her. She answered on the second ring. Dad, is everything okay? Were you going to tell me? Tell you what? That you co-signed Derek's loan. Silence. Emma. How did you? I have the documents right here, your signature, clear as day. I heard her breathing. I'm coming over, she said. I'm at a hotel. Which one? I told her. She was there in 40 minutes. I let her in. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hands shaking. Sit down, I said. She sat on the edge of the bed. I took the desk chair. I put the promissory note on the bed between us. She looked at it, started crying. I'm sorry, she said. When were you going to tell me? I don't know, never. I thought Derek would fix it. I thought we'd pay it off before it became a problem. You've known for 14 months that you owed $400,000. It wasn't $400,000 then. It was $200,000. The interest just kept adding up. Derek kept saying he had a plan, that he was working on it. And his plan was to steal my house. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Emma? You came to me. You told me I needed help, that the house was too much, that you were worried, and the whole time you were drowning in debt you'd signed for. I was trying to protect you. From what? From this, from knowing, from feeling like you had to fix it. I laughed, bitter. And instead you lied to me, manipulated me, took my house. We were going to give it back. When? After we sold it, after we paid off the debt. We were going to buy you a condo or something. Something nicer, easier to maintain. You don't get it, do you? It was never about the house. It was about you lying to my face. You standing in my living room telling me you were worried about me when you were really worried about yourself. I was worried about both. Bullshit. She flinched. You were worried about losing your house, your car, your perfect life with Derek. You weren't worried about me. That's not true. Then why didn't you tell me? If you were so worried about me, why didn't you just ask for help? Because I was ashamed. Of what? Of everything. Of marrying Derek, of co-signing the loan, of being stupid enough to believe him when he said it was safe. She put her face in her hands and sobbed. I watched her cry and felt nothing. Not anger, not sympathy, just emptiness. I paid your debt, I said quietly. She looked up. What? $450,000 total. Principal, interest, and the penalty they added at the end. It's done. You're clear. Dad! Don't. Just listen. I paid it because you're my daughter, because you're pregnant, because Laura would have wanted me to. But we're done. What do you mean? I mean you and Derek and this mess you've made. I'm done with it. I'm done being lied to. Done being manipulated. Done pretending we're a normal family. We are a family. No, Emma. We're related. That's not the same thing. Please don't do this. I already did. I sold the house, paid your debt, you're free. And so am I. Where will you go? I don't know. Somewhere that isn't here. What about the baby? That stopped me. What about it? You're just going to disappear? Not be part of your grandchild's life? That's up to you. I want you there. I want you to meet him, or her. I want you to be a grandfather. Then you should have thought about that before you lied to me. I stood up, opened the door. Get out, Emma. Dad, get out. She left crying. I closed the door. locked it, sat on the bed. My phone rang. Derek, I answered. What the hell did you say to her? He shouted. The truth. She's hysterical, she's pregnant, you can't just… I can do whatever I want, Derek, I'm done with you. We had a deal. We had nothing. I paid your debt. That was the deal, it's paid. You told Emma you're leaving. That's right. You can't do that. She needs you. She needed me to lie down and take it while you stole from me. I did that. Now I'm done. I laughed. That's rich coming from you. I'm trying to build a life here. A family. And you're just going to walk away because your feelings are hurt? My feelings aren't hurt, Derek. I just don't care anymore. About Emma? About you? About this? About being the one who fixes everyone's problems? She's your daughter. And she's your wife. Your responsibility, not mine. I hung up. He called back. I didn't answer. Emma called. I didn't answer. I turned off my phone and lay down, stared at the ceiling, thought about nothing. The next morning, I checked out of the hotel, drove north. No destination, just away. I stopped in a small town 3 hours from the city, rented a month-to-month apartment, furnished, utilities included, $600, bought groceries, toiletries, a new phone with a new number. I didn't tell Emma, didn't tell Derek, didn't tell anyone. For the first time in 30 years, I was completely alone, and it felt right. I spent the next week doing nothing, walking, reading, sleeping when I was tired, eating when I was hungry, no schedule, no obligations, no one asking for anything. It was the most peaceful I'd felt since Laura died. But it didn't last. Friday afternoon, someone knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole. Marcus. I opened the door. How did you find me? I'm a lawyer. Finding people is what I do. What do you want? To talk. Can I come in? I let him in. He looked around. This is where you're living? For now. It's a shithole. It's cheap. He sat on the couch. I stayed standing. Emma's worried about you, he said. Emma lied to me. I know. She told me. Then you understand why I left. I understand why you're angry, but disappearing? That's not the answer. It's my answer. You have $2.2 million in the bank. You could buy a house. Somewhere nice. Start over. I don't want to start over. I want to be left alone. For how long? As long as it takes. Marcus leaned back. I get it. You feel betrayed, used. You have every right to be angry. Thanks for the validation. But Emma's still your daughter, and that baby's still your grandchild. Walking away doesn't change that. I'm not walking away. I'm stepping back. What's the difference? Walking away is permanent. Stepping back is temporary. How temporary? I don't know yet. He stood up. Fair enough. But when you figure it out, call me. Because Emma's not doing well. She's scared. She thinks she lost you. She didn't lose me. She just doesn't have me on call anymore. Learned from the best. He left. I sat down on the couch and stared at the wall. Emma was scared. Good. Maybe fear would teach her something. The days blurred together. I walked a lot. The town was small. 3,000 people. One main street. A diner. A hardware store. A library. I went to the library most afternoons. Read books I'd never had time for. History, science, fiction. A librarian named Ruth started recognizing me. You're here every day, she said. Good books. You new in town? Just passing through. For a month? Maybe longer. She smiled. We don't get many passers through who stay. Maybe I like it here. Maybe you're running from something. I looked at her. She was older, 60s maybe. Sharp eyes. That obvious? You have the look. What look? Someone who lost something and doesn't know how to find it. What if I don't want to find it? Then you'll keep running until you get tired. I'm already tired. Then stop running. I checked out 3 books and left. That night, Emma called. The new number I'd bought. I stared at the phone. Answered. How did you get this number? I asked. Derek, he has connections. Of course he does. Dad, please, can we talk? We are talking. In person. Please. No. Why not? Because I'm not ready. When will you be ready? I don't know. The baby's coming in 6 months. I want you there. I'll think about it. That's all you can say? You'll think about it? That's all I've got right now, Emma. She was quiet for a long time. I'm sorry, she said finally, for everything. I know I hurt you. I know I lied, but I love you, and I need you. You needed me when you were lying to me too. Didn't stop you. I made a mistake. You made 100 mistakes, and I fixed all of them, but I'm done fixing. I'm not asking you to fix anything. I'm asking you to forgive me. I'm working on it. How long will it take? As long as it takes. She hung up. I sat in the dark and thought about forgiveness. Laura would have forgiven Emma already. Laura forgave everyone. It was one of the things I loved about her. But Laura was dead. And I was here. And I didn't know how to forgive. December came. Snow fell. The town turned quiet and white. I bought a winter coat at the hardware store, boots, gloves, started walking in the mornings before sunrise. The cold helped me think. Ruth at the library asked if I'd be staying for Christmas. Probably, I said. You have family? A daughter. She coming to visit? No. You going to visit her? No. That's sad. It's complicated. Complicated is just another word for scared. I looked at her. You always this direct? I'm old. I don't have time for bullshit. I smiled. Fair enough. You should call her, Ruth said. Whatever happened, it's not worth being alone on Christmas. Maybe. Christmas Eve, Emma called again. Dad, please come home. I don't have a home anymore, remember? Come to our house then for Christmas. Just for a day. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Because I'm still angry. Then be angry here, with family. Emma, please. Derek's sorry, I'm sorry. We want you here. The baby needs to know you. The baby isn't born yet. But he will be. Or she will be. And I want you in their life. I looked out the window at the snow falling. One day, I said. What? I'll come for one day. Christmas. Then I'm leaving. Okay, yes, thank you. And Derek stays away from me. Deal. I drove to the city Christmas morning. Their house looked the same. Lights on the porch, wreath on the door. Emma answered before I could knock. Dad. She hugged me. I let her. Inside, the house smelled like pine and cooking. Derek was in the kitchen. He nodded at me. I nodded back. Merry Christmas, Emma said. Merry Christmas. We ate dinner, turkey, potatoes, all the traditional things. Emma talked about the baby, the ultrasound, the nursery they were setting up. Derek stayed quiet. After dinner, Emma gave me a present. You didn't have to, I said. I wanted to. I opened it, a photo frame. Inside was a picture of Laura and Emma from years ago. The two of them laughing at something I'd said behind the camera. I stared at it. I thought you might want it, Emma said quietly. I did want it. Thank you, I said. We sat by the fireplace. Emma fell asleep on the couch. Derek and I sat in silence. Finally, he spoke. I know you hate me. I don't hate you. You should. Probably. Yes. I'm trying to do better. For Emma. For the baby. Good. I know that's not enough. No, it's not. What can I do? I looked at him. Stay away from people like Chen. Stop gambling with money you don't have. Be a father. That's it. I can do that. We'll see. Emma woke up. Dad, you're not leaving yet, are you? Soon. Stay the night, please. No. Why not? Because I'm not ready for that yet. She looked disappointed but didn't push. I left at 8 p.m., drove back to the apartment, put Laura's photo on the desk, sat and looked at it for a long time. I wasn't ready to forgive, but maybe I was ready to try.